Welcome back, Officers Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief APGAINS, and if you're like me, you have made the classic blunder of setting up a GAC and you're going in and you got some teams saved, and what personally happens to me is I'll queue up my best negotiator fleet, right? I'll queue up all of my Galactic Republic wherever they are. Here we go. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bring my Galactic Republic. I got my negotiator lined up, and I'm gonna kick some butt. And then I realized, you know what? I think I can use my Rebel characters in my Home 1 fleet to beat this, and then undersize the other ship and get some more banners and put me in a better position to win. So what do? I filter by Rebels, because I have a bunch of ships, and I know how to speak. I just forgot that R is lower than G because I'm an idiot. And I queue up my not-so-great Rebel fleet. But what's awesome is, even though they're not great under Home 1, this Rebel fleet is pretty solid. I put Houndstooth in there to tank. My 5-star Millennium Falcon does most of the heavy lifting, and I get great banners. I usually get 68, 69, and 70 banners, and I'm awesome. I'm so happy. But what did I forget to do, guys? What did I forget to do in this whole equation? Were you following along? Go to the comment section and tell me, what is the classic blunder? You fall for the classic blunder. Inconceivable, I would say, that I would fall for such a classic blunder. But what is the blunder that I fell for? Real MLG Pro Bro gamers will realize that what I forgot to do is change the negotiator to the Home 1. And now I hop in, and I see the negotiator, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'll call in a mass assist. You know, all of my Galactic Republic will assist. I'll do some big damage. And then nothing happens. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, oh, I see I have Millennium Falcon out. I'm going to basic and remove buffs. And I'm like, oh, wait. And then I realize I brought in, for the millionth time, the wrong capital ship with the wrong fleet. And do you know why I did it? Because there's no squad loadouts for ships. There's no squad loadouts for ships. And it sucks. And it's awful. In a recent interview, Crumb said he acknowledged that it's awful. But what he did say was, it's something they want to implement, but it's kind of hard to code because it's not a copy and paste of the squads tab. Because the capital ship, I don't know, needs to be bigger. I'm not a coder. I would love to get an interview with Capital Games about this because I don't understand the finer details of coding a game, and I think it would be awesome for us to figure out what they can and can't do to help us understand like what's an acceptable thing to be asking. And they said they're working on this. But it's a little bit harder to code, so they don't know when it's going to be able to come out, and we don't know when we're going to get ship squads. But is there a man, woman, child, or Jawa out there who wouldn't want this coming to the game? This would be, if we got nothing else, I would consider this a ship load of content. I think you guys are right there with me. Yes, we want Marauder. We want more Separatists, more Radis, more First Order. We want everything. We want ships to be a little bit more fleshed out so we can mix and match and have a more not stale game mode in terms of fleets. Especially because Executor is so hard to kill now if you don't have an Executor. And even if you do have an Executor, sometimes you're going to have to two-shot because of RNG. Wouldn't it be so awesome if they were just like, hey, there's a conquest ship. It's Marauder. You're going to have to be a whale. You're going to have to do this, that. And man, it's going to suck. But if you invest in the Marauder, your negotiator can beat okay executors. Not if they've invested to the level you have, because money is king. But wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if we got ship loadouts? Wouldn't it be awesome if we got a ship load of content added to the game? Because when was the last time you were running your Radis? I don't have Radis because I'm not an imbecile. And you're like, oh, look at the 4 resistance ships that there are in the game. One of them is the capital ship. This is not a fleet. Especially now that Houndstooth has to be used with the whatever it's called, the pain and suffering mobile of mass Death Star destruction, the Executor. Or Executor if you're lame. This is not a fleet. Of the Radis plus Ray's Millennium, which is not a great ship, I think Poe and the Resistance, Poe is okay. It's so simple, but it's solid. This fleet sucks. We want an A-wing. We want a resistance bomber for a tank. Give us a tank. Give us another support or attacker, high damage dealer. And all of those Rey people and endgame players, I mean, whales would die for this. How many whales would be like, well, I have Executor and I have the 2 get ones, I have this, but like, wouldn't it be so awesome if I could use my Radis to counter Executor? I would spend so much dang money on that Radis squad. I would spend all of my money so that I could counter, so I could use my Executor on defense. I wouldn't have to save for offense and risk the RNG. And wouldn't it be so awesome? And then once they're getting to 11 million GP, what if they need 3 fleets? And they're just like, well, I got 4, I got 5, but man, my Radis has 3 fleets. What about those players who are investing in Rey? They're investing their time and oftentimes their money, their hard-earned money. I have no money. 0. None whatsoever. But if I was a player, and what if I thought Rey was so beautiful? Where's Rey? Where is characters? What if they do an art rework where she doesn't look like a potato? And I'm like, damn, look at that honky-tonk badonkadonk. I want Rey. But I have to have Radis. So what do? I have a terrible fleet. I don't have Malevolence. I don't have Executive. I'm a new player. I spent a butt ton of money. I rushed Rey. I spent my year to get my Galactic Legend. I farmed up my Rose Tico. I farmed up my Crankor food. And I don't have a fleet. But what if you're the SLKR guy? I mean, the SLKR guy, he's got his Kylo, which Kylo's probably better than Rey. I mean, Rey with Cat is so hard to kill. But he goes into his fleets, and he filters for First Order. And the First Order fleet is not super expansive, but Kylo Ren's command shuttle doesn't reduces turn meter when you come in, and TIE Silencer, or as Coach Van Hunt calls it, TIE Slicer, ramps up damage and is very good. Finalizer is super fast. You get that hunted. Like, this is an okay fleet. I think if they added a First Order bomber or a tank of some kind to this fleet, 5 ships is a fleet, right? Yes, you can mix match, and people are going to push back and say, well, you don't necessarily need a full 5. Like, if we have 5 ships, a damage dealer, a couple of supports, and a tank, and then that's a fleet right there. Like, if I go into Galactic Republic, I have 2 capital ships, 4 supports, 3 damage dealers, and a tank. This is the most important part of my fleet right here. My BLT sandwich is 5 stars, and it's useful because I have to use my Houndstooth elsewhere to get the most bang for my buck. I'm sorry, I got way too out of hand there. Subscribe if you like me. Subscribe if you hate me. I need to calm down. I'll see you guys later.